I did not bring my glasses out here, so I don't know where and how. I'm not on the computer today. I'm on my phone. Let's see how we see a conversation window. I don't know how we can do that. Let's see. I don't see how we do that. Anyhow, let's go through with this. I'm going to make some responses to some things here. I don't want anyone to show who their clients are. That would be a breach of confidentiality. Just like when I was told, oh, you don't have any clients, you're not a dog trainer. I didn't show any of my clients. Everybody was like, oh, show your dog training on videos. Show us your training. I didn't make any videos because I don't feel the need to. And I don't want somebody using my methods or when they were harassing me. So, no, never told anybody to do any of that stuff. But let's go through with why I've said what I said. Multiple times on 2 different dogs in Cassandra's home, I have seen a poorly fitting prong collar. This is a prong collar. I am a balance trainer. Cassandra doesn't even understand what a balance trainer is. She likes using all these terms. Now that is a pit bull that lives behind me. I had to put up 2 separate fences because that dog is being taught to fight. So you'll hear him barking. He's trying to convince my dogs to come over to the fence, and he's challenging them. And anyway, Nani, come. Good girl. Twice now, I have seen Ari's dog all day, and multiple times I have seen Patrick's dog all day wearing a prong. You don't do that. This is only for training sessions and working a dog. Only time a prong should be on a dog. And it should be very tight and high behind the ears. Only for when a leash is engaged and using a training length of leash. And you are actively delivering. Come here. Come on. Nani, get up here. Behave. Want a treat? Come on. Ignore him. It's hard to do this one-handed. Do not bring a log on the deck. She's playing with logs. Come here. Sit. I'm sorry, I'm taking time out. And yes, I use Ziwi Peak for training. We will get to that in a minute. This must be only used. Pissed me off when I saw Pat's dog running around Cassandra's apartment wearing that all day. How would you like to wear something like this all day? All day. Running around in the house. This is used for training purposes only when it should be. It's bullshit to make a dog wear this in the house all day. I've seen both people do it at Cassandra's house. Seen one person do it at her own house all day. And never should a dog be on a tie out with one of these on. Never. Hi, Caitlin. It's bullshit. Now on to my next thing. Do I own these? Yes, I do. Why does a dog do fine on a prong? Actually, it is more humane than a choke collar is. The old style was a choke collar, and very few trainers ever are capable of developing the ability to use a choke properly. In the right hands, it can actually work correctly, but a prong is easier to teach to someone who may have a lack of strength to correct a dog and control a large breed dog like Patrick. He probably uses it because he's an old man, but it's not correctly fitted to Bodhi. Why can't you leave it on the yard with them? Do you see these spikes? It's perfect for correcting a dog. But if you left it on the dog, it's going to wiggle back and forth on the dog, and it's meant to be tight. I can't do it with my handheld phone, but I'll make a video to train people how to correctly use one if you like. I will gladly do that for you. And there have been pictures circulated about incidents where these have hurt dogs. But that's what the people did, is they did not correctly use it. Plus, there's a lot of these collars out that are cheap. This is a Herm Sprenger directly from Germany, where they designed these collars years and years ago. If you're not using a Herm... Am I back? Can somebody please let me know if I'm back? I do not normally do live stream on a phone. Please let me know I'm back. Can somebody please let me know I'm back? Thank you. Sorry about that. These were designed in Germany as a working dog collar. If you do not have the brand Herm Sprenger, H-E-R-M, do not buy it. The lookalikes, the knockoffs are crap. Do not buy it if it is not a H-E-R-M. I believe the last part of it is S-P-R-E-N-G-E-R. Do not buy it if it is a knockoff. Only use the original. Do not use the kind that has an off clasp. Only use this original design. Okay, did you use it properly? And perhaps you were lucky, and perhaps your dog is not a hard dog. It could have worked for you, but it might not work for all dogs. Sometimes they pop open and the dog gets loose. I do not suggest anyone use a non-Herm Sprenger as a trainer. It may have worked for you. You were one of the lucky people. What does that have to do with the collar? Then did your dog even need a prong collar, if that's the case? Okay, then we're talking about a dog that requires a prong collar. Okay, moving on. This is for a dog that requires use of a prong collar to break a bad habit, one that was not trained properly as a puppy. You can have a well-bred dog, and if somebody didn't handle it properly or train it at all as a puppy, then you have to break bad habits. I specialize also in dogs that are turned into the rescues or Humane Society that have to be turned into good pet materials so that they can be rehomed out to homes. See these bites on my hands? I have handled some really nasty dogs, and I have rehabilitated them. There are only 3 dogs that I found that were not able to be rehabilitated. Yes, I deal with some really nasty, large dogs. I specialize in really big dogs. And I work with them, and I retrain them, and no, I don't show them on camera. Sometimes I have dogs here. I have separation kennels here at my home. And I have them here working with them to get them into homes after I have retrained them. That's why this gear is here. It's not necessary on my dogs. Both these dogs have been raised with me from puppyhood, and they came from amazing breeders. But I work with dogs that have not had that. That's why I have this gear. Plus, I help people with their pets at home that have had, issues. And this is a shock collar. You cannot train a behavior that you have not taught the dog what you want from them using a shock collar. You have to teach a behavior to a dog before you can correct the behavior. People misunderstand. They think, oh, a shock collar is a training aid, so I can just throw a shock collar on and correct the dog. No, you must teach the dog how you want it to behave. This doesn't teach a dog. You have to teach the dog. Yes, I have a background with hunting dogs. I grew up around the Chesapeake Bay, and I hunt. I have a background with water dogs. I also have a background with hounds. I've worked bloodhounds. I also did search and rescue with SAR canine with bloodhounds for tracking and trailing. I also did air scent, cadaver work, done all of it. I have a background in many different areas. Anything to do with dogs. Anyhow, what I was saying is this is not a fix-all. This right here. Too many people are abusing the use of a shock collar these days. Yes, these do have a buzz, and they do have a sound. But in order to teach the dog to listen to the sound, because think of it, a yes word and a clicker are the same as the sound on the collar. So this bullshit that some of these people are trying to say, I only use an e-collar for the sound, is exactly that. It's bullshit. Because you can use a negative sound, or you can use a clicker sound just as much. They don't understand the difference between an e-collar sound and a clicker sound unless you have given them the shock. The only reason why they listen to the sound on this is because they have been shocked. So don't go around telling people, oh, they only listen to this because I'm using the sound or the vibrate. That's bullshit. It's a make-believe story that these people are telling people. Oh, I don't shock my dog. Bullshit. If your dog is listening to that and paying attention and listening, and not your clicker, and not, yes, then you have fucking shocked your dog. You're lying. Because it's the same thing. Same fucking thing. Using the sound on this should work exactly like your clicker or your yes or whatever your word is. They should be responding to this and your word or your clicker. Sit. Good girl. And yes, she's 7 years old. You see how fit and healthy this 7-year-old working breed is? This one is not very powerful. It's a good brand. It's a really good brand. But I only use that to break bad habits. Like to save a dog's life. Say that there is a dog that is a DoorDasher. Now, you can use it on stim when you're doing sports to make a dog faster in their responses. Or like, say you're doing rally. It just makes your dog think if they're getting distracted. Like, hey, I'm here. I'm asking something of you. If your dog is looking off and getting distracted, you can say, hey, I gave you something to do. They have other uses. However, you do have to teach them that it does shock. Because they have to know that the stem and the sound is going to come before a shock. I have never needed to do that. And I've done the sport of Schutzhund because you want to know why? My times have never been that important to me. I don't care about being a top competitor. I'm not going to use it for that. If I use this, it's because I don't want somebody being bitten, or I don't want a dog dying because it didn't listen to an automatic down or a stop. If a dog gets loose from you, you had better make sure that that dog has a control word that it's going to listen to you no matter what. These dogs that I have right here, they will stop and drop, no questions asked. They will not hesitate for a second. If I have a dog that won't do that, then you better believe I will resort to this to make them do it. What if your dog gets out of a fence or off of a leash and it's headed for a highway? What if you're in a car wreck and whatever your dog is tethered to breaks in that car wreck and your dog is freaking out because it's been in a car wreck? Your dog must be controllable when it's freaking out. It has to have that instinct drilled into them to stop whatever it's doing, no matter what. And you have to test it. You have to proof it. You have to prevent anything from happening by putting your dog into situations to test it. And make sure that no matter what you have going around you on your dog, that you can put your dog into a down or a stay. No matter what. Send it after a ball or something it loves and put it into a down mid-ball chase. I mean, anything. At its most excited point and whatever it's doing, put it into a down. You have to make sure that that dog understands no matter what is going on, that that dog can stop and drop. It can save your dog's life. When I train, That is one of the best things that I do on anyone's dog as soon as they have their basics down. Because I want their dog to be able to save their life if something goes on. A dog is not trained if it does not have basic obedience. It should never have to depend on food to get it to listen. If your dog depends on food to listen, it is not trained. It is not a trained dog. If you have to use this in front of its face to get it to listen, it is not trained. My dogs like to work for food, but if I tell them to do something and I don't have food, they know, they're trained. They're going to do it. Because why? I'm a balanced trainer. If they don't listen, then comes the correction. They will get corrected. And then I will make them do a training session to where they will have to do a session of obedience with only petting and praise when they have listened. They won't get food. That is balanced training. I'm correcting with leash and voice, not this stuff. If they are doing something really wrong, I use this to correct from dogs jumping up and pulling that are not correctable by other methods, such as this and such as leash handling. I teach proper leash handling. You'd be surprised how much you can do with just using a proper leash method. You cannot learn all of this from a book. You can't. You have to train under someone. It takes doing it over and over and over with someone who can watch what you're doing and say, do this, do that, and correct their style. Or watch what they're doing and say, no, you're doing this incorrectly. I started out in my friend's grandparents' kennel. Oh my gosh. Well, I hung out in the kennel all my life. Sorry, there's a siren. She howls with sirens. All right. All good. All good. I hung out with my friend's kennel since I was a little girl. I was like their second granddaughter. And there was a Schutzhund trainer on the property. They were also a show kennel. And that's where the groomer was. And then from there, I've worked with dogs ever since. And now I'm 56 years old. I've worked with dogs my whole life. Plus, I've been to seminars. I've also certified with FEMA. I have worked professionally with dogs under a canine role. I've worked with arson dogs. I've shown dogs internationally. I can show that. I'll post some of my scores. I've tested in front of working dog judges for working dogs over in Germany. So, I've taken 2 exams for them. Was it 2 or 3? I've taken several exams for them, both there and here. So when she says I don't have any certifications as a trainer, it's ridiculous. This is also dog food, so just so y'all know, I haven't fed them their breakfast yet. This is dog food. See? So I'm giving them food right now. That's my other point. It used to be an old thing that some dog trainers, somebody's dog trainers that didn't know any better would feed hot dogs as training treats. But nitrates. And you know what? It's also in all processed meat. So if you go to the deli or whatever and you buy meats, the nitrates are in that too. So somebody that says they're going to be feeding chicken breast from now on, we all know she doesn't cook. The nitrates are going to be in that too. Any deli meat. And I've seen her feed deli meat to her dog a ton of times. It's in all deli meat, and it's just as bad for humans as it is for dogs. I should know, my mom died from mesothelial cancer of the throat. And it's basically from nitrates. And that's all she would eat because she was too lazy to fucking cook. That's kind of off subject and it's terrible, but she ate fast food all the time and she ate preservative meats all the time. So, side note, yes, it's very, very bad for you. Extremely bad for you. Hence why I don't eat shit like that. It's a terrible, terrible thing and a terrible way to die. If you have acid reflux, use apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon, and a glass of water and drink it 3 times a day. If she would have just did that, she probably could have lived a little longer. And stop, doing that shit. Right, guys? Right, guys? Yeah? Anyhow, the other thing I wanted to mention is, if Cassandra was a real dog trainer, she wants to know why I call her a fake dog trainer. Hey, we're not going to go back to the chasing around the table and the noise. Stop. If Cassandra was a real dog trainer, she would understand that when she goes off with Patrick and Bodie's in the back and he starts that bark, 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 bark from the back of the car like he does, how many times have we seen Cassandra go, oh? I mean, really, how many times have we seen her egg him on in the car? Now, do you think that's encouraging the bad behavior? Really? As a dog trainer, if you want to keep a bad habit, that's the best way to do it. Do you really think that that's a good thing to be teaching a dog? Patrick's not home all day. What do you think that dog does all day to his neighbors? As a dog trainer, a responsible dog trainer, what instead would you do if you were in the car with that dog? I think that's why they leave Olivia all the time in the car with him instead of, kind of like using her like a real service dog. I think the dog babysits Patrick's dog in the car to keep him from going after other people's going by the car. Because he acts like a jerk in the car. And, he was Cassandra's dog. But, she can't say, oh, I failed the dog because it wasn't as lazy as Olivia. She doesn't take out Olivia. So I'm sure she didn't take out that dog. Patrick exercises that dog all the time. It's a high drive dog. And I don't believe she's exercising him while, Patrick's at work and he's cooped up in her apartment. He sees Olivia going out, but I don't believe he's going out. So he's probably saying, hey, what the fuck? Can I go out too? But it doesn't help that she goes, oh, and encourages him while he's barking in the car. So what is he going to do when he wants to bark at her apartment and he's used to her barking in the car? He sure as hell ain't going to respect her. He's not going to be quiet for her. So no, she's not a dog trainer. That's why she's not a dog trainer. Has not a damn thing to do with certificates. Because she lets people leave these on their dogs in her apartment all day. She doesn't understand how the use of this even works. And she encourages the dog to fucking bark in the car and misbehave instead of training the dog. That's why she's not a dog trainer. She's never had any physical training on how to train a dog. You can take every fucking book test and get every certificate in the world, and I will never call you a dog trainer, Cassandra. That's what it boils down to. You don't understand what you say or what you do or your lack of doing. You don't get it. And yes, she doesn't understand it. And I get that because she doesn't have the ability to. She can't comprehend any of this. She cannot comprehend, okay? She doesn't get it. I don't think she's ever going to get it because she doesn't listen to anyone about anything. She doesn't do things correctly. She can't even understand why condensation builds up in the hoses to her tortoise because the hoses are too long and they're going down to the ground before going up into the tortoise. So the lowest point of the hoses are on the floor. So where is the moisture going to settle from the condensation? They're going to settle on the floor in the bend of the hose. I mean, she thinks she's so intelligent, but she does have learning disabilities, and she can't figure out the simplest of things. She just can't. She can't understand she's not keeping heat into her tortoise because she has no deflectors on the back of the heat sources to push the heat towards the tortoise pen instead of it going out the back. She can't figure out she's still not using the correct type of lighting. I could go on and on and on. The simple truth is she's never been correctly taught. She took sandwiches to a veterinarian so he would write her the letters to get her to take the test. She got the woman at the farm who had dementia to sign paperwork that she trained dogs there. That's how she gets through life. And no, she's not a dog trainer. Anybody can lie to people and get them to say, yeah, come train me because I'm a dog trainer. See this paper? It says I'm a dog trainer. But actually being able to train their dogs for them, if you're not a dog trainer, you can't do it. They're going to hire you because of what you told them. Having a client and being able to take care of your client are two different things. Having that piece of fucking paper does not make you a dog trainer. Being able to problem solve and get the job done and have a dog that fucking knows how to do things when you tell it to do things and love doing it for you instead of having to be bribed at 7 years old. See, she's the same age as Olivia and she is healthy, happy, and she still does obedience without being asked with food to do it. Nannies. Look at that happy girl, happy dog. Drop. Bring. Good girl. Sits. Sits. You don't want to sit on the deck, do you? You're going to show me up now. Dogs always make a liar out of you. Hey, sits. Good girl. Are you a good girl? 7 years old, healthy, fit, and listens. Good girl. Puppy. Trained. Eli. Sit. Good boy. Good fast sit. Plots. Good boy. Stand. Trained dogs. The proof is in the pudding. She doesn't even have a demo dog. She supposedly trained both those dogs. Enough said. That's what it is. And this point of, oh, my body's failing me. I can't train because I can't move around much. Bitch, you have a wheelchair just like me. You said you used the wheelchair. I train from a wheelchair. Not an excuse. Bye, folks. How do you get out of here?